There is a truth Tesla never prints in its brochure. The Model 3 long range costs $44,000 today. In 5 years, it will be worth around $16,000. A software engineer in Austin found that out, but only after paying the price. 3 years of ownership, 2-door repairs, 1 early tire replacement. Then one morning, he looked at a transfer document. The number was $27,000 below what he originally paid. The person who bought that car was a college student spending an inheritance. The circle closes in a way nobody wants to admit. The smart person's car ends up in the hands of someone who has not gotten there yet. Hundreds of thousands of Americans buy a Model 3 every year. Most of them believe it is the financially smart move. Fuel savings, cutting-edge technology, the brand of the future. Some of that is true. The rest is what marketing builds carefully, and real data tears apart coldly. Part 1. What the Tesla Model 3 really is, and who's actually buying it. Tesla once held 80% of the United States electric vehicle market in 2020. By October 2024, that number had dropped to 49%. It was the first time in company history the share had fallen below 50%. That same year saw Tesla's first annual sales decline since the company launched. They cut prices repeatedly throughout the year. End-of-quarter incentives became a regular tool just to move inventory. This is not what a brand at its peak looks like. This is what a brand racing against its own shadow looks like. The 2024 Model 3 long range starts at $44,130. That is before any federal tax credit. The credit is worth $7,500, but only if you qualify. Not everyone does. Income level, purchase type, and battery origin all affect whether you qualify. Many buyers calculate their budget based on the post-credit price. Then they find out after signing that they do not qualify. But the numbers are not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is the reason people buy. The typical Model 3 buyer has not run a 5-year total cost of ownership analysis. It is someone who wants to align themselves with a brand, with an image of progress, technology, and forward thinking. When identity drives the decision, the unfavorable numbers tend to disappear. And with the Model 3, there are quite a few of those numbers. Part 2, the saving money on gas trap. The number one reason people give for buying a Model 3 is fuel savings. That sounds reasonable, and technically, it is true. Partly. The electricity cost to run a Model 3 is about 3 to 4 cents per mile. That is based on the national average of 16 cents per kilowatt hour. A standard gas-powered car costs around 10 to 12 cents per mile. That adds up to $1,000 to $1,200 saved per year. That is compared to driving a gas-powered car. That number is real. The problem is, what does not get counted? Installing a Level 2 home charger costs $800 to $2,000. That includes both the equipment and the labor. Electric vehicle insurance costs run 20 to 25% higher. That figure comes from Forbes Advisor in 2024. The Model 3 weighs 400 to 500 pounds, more than a Toyota Camry. That extra weight comes from the battery pack. Faster tire wear and significantly higher replacement costs follow. Many renters and apartment dwellers have no garage to charge at home. That means depending entirely on public charging stations. Harvard Business School studied 1 million EV charging station reviews. Outside the home, public chargers succeeded only 78% of the time. 1 out of every 5 charging attempts fails. Add it all up and the real fuel savings are much smaller than the marketing suggests. Hidden costs eat into the savings significantly, and that is before reaching the most expensive factor of all, the one with no invoice, but that quietly drains your wallet every single day. Part 3, the depreciation reality nobody warns you about. Depreciation is a word dealerships never bring up during a sales consultation. With the Model 3, that is exactly why. I see cars analyzed over 15 million real vehicle transactions. The Tesla Model 3 loses 54.5% of its value after 5 years. 5 years later, that car is worth about $16,800. The average vehicle market depreciation rate is 41.5%. The average hybrid loses just 40.7%. The Model 3 loses nearly 14 percentage points more than the average hybrid. And that is the average, not the worst case. Let's put it in real dollars. Buy a new Model 3 for $44,000. After 5 years, it is worth around $20,000. Buy a new Toyota Camry Hybrid for $32,000. After 5 years, it is worth around $21,000. The Camry costs $12,000 less up front, and it holds roughly the same value after 5 years. That math does not need further explanation. But the Model 3 carries a risk no other car on the market faces. Tesla cut new car prices repeatedly from 2022 through 2024. Every Tesla price cut on new cars pushed used values down on the secondary market, not through natural depreciation, but through one person's decision made in Texas. Owners had no control over any of it. Owners woke up one morning to find their car worth thousands less, all because of a single post. This is a risk that does not appear in any cost of ownership spreadsheet, and it happened multiple times, not just once. Part 4, the reliability problem Tesla fans avoid talking about. When someone says the Tesla Model 3 is a high-tech car, they are right. When someone says it is a reliable car, the data tells a different story. The 2024 J.D. Power Initial Quality Study measures problems in the first 90 days. The study covered 99,144 vehicle owners. Tesla recorded 266 problems per 100 vehicles. The industry average is 195. Tesla is not just below average. Tesla ranked near the bottom of the list, grouped with Rivian and Polestar. Those are two young brands most buyers have never heard of. Consumer Reports surveys around 380,000 vehicles a year. All data comes directly from real owners. Consumer Reports has pulled its Model 3 recommendation more than once. The reason each time was inconsistent reliability. The most commonly reported problems are not engine or battery failures. They are smaller but more frustrating issues. Uneven body panel gaps. Paint showing cracks or peeling earlier than expected. Door handles malfunctioning, especially in cold weather. Regenerative braking causing uneven brake pad wear. Over-the-air software updates have changed car behavior with no prior notice. That last point deserves attention on its own. No other automaker can change how your car behaves overnight without your consent. That is a Tesla-only privilege. Depending on your perspective, it is either a feature or a risk. High-tech and highly reliable are two different things. Tesla excels at the first. The second is still being proven. Part 5, charging infrastructure, the hidden risk marketing ignores. The supercharger network is a top reason people choose Tesla over other EV brands, and that is a completely valid reason. It is currently the most reliable fast charging system in the United States. It has more than 20,000 stations nationwide. This is a real advantage, and an undeniable one. But there are two problems no product brochure mentions. The first is public charging infrastructure outside the supercharger network. Harvard Business School studied 1 million EV charging station reviews nationwide. The success rate at non-home charging stations came in at 78%. That means 1 out of every 5 charging attempts fails. The failures trace back to broken equipment, compatibility issues, or long queues. The study also found smaller cities and rural areas are developing charging deserts. These are zones with no charging infrastructure. When the nearest supercharger is down or full, EV drivers have almost no alternative. The second issue gets less attention. Repeated DC fast charging accelerates battery degradation. Drivers who rely heavily on superchargers will see battery capacity decline faster. That is significantly faster than someone who charges on level 2 at home every night. Faster battery degradation means lower resale value, and the cost cycle keeps turning. The car is Tesla's product, making it work reliably every day. That is your problem to solve. Part 6, the brand risk, when your car's value depends on one man. This is a risk absent from every car comparison chart. No review website accounts for it. No personal finance expert mentions it when advising on car purchases. But data from 2024 and 2025 demands we address it directly. In the first quarter of 2025, Tesla's global sales dropped 13%. That was compared to the same period the previous year. That was the largest quarterly decline in the company's history. Tesla's stock lost 35% of its value. That happened in just the first few months of the year. Many analysts point to a cause that is not a technical flaw. It is not competition from BYD and not rising electricity costs. The cause is consumer backlash against Elon Musk's growing political role. His involvement has become increasingly controversial. "I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy" became a bumper sticker. It started appearing on Tesla owners' own cars. That is a phenomenon that has never happened with any automotive brand. It has never occurred in modern history. This represents an entirely new category of risk in the auto industry. A car's value is being affected not by quality or reliability. Instead, it is shaped by the political views of its founder. Toyota is not tied to any single CEO. BMW is not associated with any political figure. Tesla is linked to Elon Musk in a way that cannot be separated. When one person becomes controversial on a national scale, consequences follow. The brand attached to that person suffers as a result. You cannot buy insurance against that kind of risk. Part 7, why Tesla still sells and who should actually buy one. At this point, it would be dishonest to only present one side. The Tesla Model 3 is not a bad car. For a very specific type of user, it can be a perfectly reasonable choice. Say you live in a major city with dense charging infrastructure. You have a private garage to install a level 2 home charger. You drive mostly in the city, under 12,000 miles per year, and you plan to trade in within 2 to 3 years, before depreciation becomes too significant. In that case, the Model 3 can perform very well. Autopilot, despite ongoing debate, leads its price segment. No other system at this price matches its driver assistance features. The supercharger network is the most reliable fast-charging network in the U.S. Driving performance and the feel behind the wheel are genuinely outstanding. That holds true compared to any car under $50,000. Those things are real and deserve to be acknowledged. The problem is not that the Model 3 is a bad car. The problem is that it is often bought by people who do not fit that profile. People living in apartments with no access to home charging. People who frequently drive long distances and depend on superchargers. People who keep a car for 5 to 7 years. They end up absorbing the full steepest part of the depreciation curve. People who bought into the brand image. Then they discovered that image is shifting in ways nobody could have predicted. A good car in the right hands is a smart decision. A good car in the wrong hands is just a cost disguised as technology. Part 8, Final Verdict Philosophy, not just a car. Let's go back to the engineer in Austin. $27,000 evaporated in 3 years. 2 times waiting in line at a charging station during a weekend trip. One morning, he checked the news. The CEO of his car brand had just done something. It wiped a few more $1,000s off his vehicle's value. The Tesla in the brochure looked like the future. But the future does not pay your depreciation bill. The people who are truly smart do not avoid the Model 3. It is not because they do not understand the technology. They avoid it because they understand enough to know one thing. A great car and a great financial decision are not always the same thing. That gap is exactly what separates a car buyer from an asset owner.